that my depression was actually one of the greatest gifts of my life. And most people look at me like, wait, I don't understand. How can your depression be a gift? Well, it's a gift because if it wasn't for my depression, I would not have learned that I have the ability to heal myself. And everybody has this ability. This isn't just some magical thing that I got myself. This is just something that we're not taught in our schools, unfortunately. We're not taught about our minds. We're not taught about why we think and feel the way that we do. We're not taught about how our bodies work. And doing all of this research, I learned that I have all the healing that I need to have within myself. I have all the tools that I need within myself. And what greater gift is that, knowing that if I ever get into a dark place or those red flags start to happen, I know how to pull myself out of it. I can do it without pills. I can do it without therapy. And that truly is the greatest gift of my life. And if I can do this, everybody can do this. I was clueless about the things that I had learned, and I break it down really easy. That's part of my purpose. That's part of what I do in this podcast, to try to break it down and make it as simple so anybody can heal themselves. And it's not something you have to do, and it doesn't have to take years. It's something that can happen quite fast if you really take it serious and you put yourself first. Now, learning how to heal myself, it's not like I just woke up and I'm all healed. It is a process. Now, it's not a process that has to take a really long time, but it really depends on how open you are to learning new ways of thinking. I had to deconstruct a lot of things. I had to unlearn a ton of stuff. And I recently listened to a seminar, and I heard a woman talk about her journey, her spiritual journey, and she broke it down so beautifully. She was at a workshop, and the speaker at the workshop wanted everybody to talk about their 5 chapters of their life. And the teacher, the speaker, just wanted them to write it on a 5x7 index card, so it's not too wordy. It's just straight to the point. And this woman stood up, and what she said is exactly what life is about. It is exactly what the spiritual journey is, and I wanted to share that with you. She stood up, and she said, the first chapter of my life, I walked down a street. There was a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fell in the hole. I felt lost. I felt helpless, but it wasn't my fault. And it took me what felt like forever to get out of it. Second chapter of my life. I walked down the same street. There was a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretended I didn't see the hole, and I fell into it. How did I end up here again? But it wasn't my fault. And again, it took me what seemed like forever to get out of that hole. Third chapter of my life. I walked down the same street. There was a deep hole in the sidewalk. I saw the hole, and I still fell in. Okay, there's a pattern here. This is a habit. This is my fault. And I quickly got out of that hole. Fourth chapter of my life. I walked down the same street. There was a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walked around the hole. Fifth chapter of my life. I walked down a different street. I walked down a different street. If you want change in your life, you have to change. You have to change your thinking. Any success, Any success that has ever happened ever in life. I don't care if it's success in a business, if it's success in a romantic relationship, if it's success as a parent, as a daughter, if it's success in the relationship that you have with your body, if it's success in security, confidence, whatever. Any success that has ever happened always starts in the mind. Any success. And if you want to have success in your life, you have to change the mind. You have to change how you think. Because when you change how you think, you change how you feel, and then you change your actions. Albert Einstein said it great. He says, we cannot solve our problems using the same thinking that caused them. If you want to change, you have to change the mind. You cannot change your thoughts once they arrive. Once a thought pops up, it's not like you can take it away. Same way you can't just take away your past. If it happened, it happened. When a thought is there, you can't change that. It's the same with your emotions. Once your emotions have arrived, there's nothing you can do to change it. But what's so beautiful is that your thoughts and your emotions, they are just messages. They are just symptoms of a bigger thing, a bigger problem. If you experience painful thoughts, painful emotions, it's just a symptom. It is not the big issue. And if you want to change your mind, you have to go to the source. You have to discover why you have these thoughts, why you have these emotions. They are not random. You are not destined to be depressed or anxious or insecure or full of fear. That is not destiny. It is not bad luck. There is a specific reason why you think and feel the way you do. There is a source to that. And that source, the reason why you think and feel the way you do is because you hold beliefs in your mind. And it's those belief systems that determine how you think and feel. So if you have an experience, that experience has to go through the filter of your beliefs. That is why you think and feel the way you do. Have you ever noticed how you can have a whole room of people and they have the same experience, but how they think and feel about that experience is completely different? You can just go on social media, and if some celebrity gossip person says something, and you look at those comments and you see how those comments are, some are really, really positive, some are really, really negative, some are out of the blue and interesting. The reason is because everybody has a different filter. We all experience life differently. And if you want to have nicer thoughts, if you want to have more supportive thoughts, more loving thoughts, you go to the source. You go to create new belief systems. You can't change them. And I'm going to explain why you can't change them, because they already exist. But you can weaken these belief systems and create belief systems that you want. Now, where do these belief systems come from? Most of our belief systems come from somewhere along the journey, likely when you were a child. Those belief systems are really profound and really powerful in your life as an adult, because as a child, that is the first time that you are experiencing a moment. You are experiencing life. So the brain is learning for the very first time how life is supposed to look. And because that's the first time, those are going to be the strongest beliefs. So let's say you grew up in an environment where you heard your mother and father yelling a lot, and you start to feel those feelings that nobody likes to feel when you hear anybody arguing. But imagine being a 5-year-old and you hear your mom and dad arguing. The brain's job is to help you survive, is to keep you alive. So when the body feels this low energy, this low vibration feeling, the mind turns on and says, okay, what is that? Okay, mom and dad are fighting. What does that mean? Oh, it means relationships are painful. Or it means this is how you communicate with your spouse. Or it means I don't want to have anything to do with the relationship. This seems painful. These seem difficult. I am going to make sure that I never get married. Who wants to get married to that? To people fighting? Now, it could also go the other way where you're like, no, this isn't right. I don't like how they communicate. I want to have a loving relationship. I want to make sure that I feel connected with my partner. It can go either way. But a lot of the time when it's a painful emotion, the brain will click in and say, no, 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 we don't want any of this. Or let's say your parents are fighting about money. You're going to create meanings and beliefs around money. If they are fighting that, the bills aren't getting paid, or we can't pay the mortgage, or whatever it is, it always revolves around money. You will create a belief that either money is happiness, and if I have money, that's my happiness, and you will attach money to happiness, which later on in your life can create a lot of dangerous experiences in your life. Or you attach money as the root of all evil. Money is dangerous. Money is bad. And so as you grow older and you have certain experiences and you wonder, why are you broke and why are you always struggling? I'm a good person. I do good things. Why is it so hard for me to make money? A lot of it is because you have this deep-seated belief that money is the root of all evil. And your brain will make sure that you never make money. The interesting thing about these beliefs, they control so much of our lives, but the majority of our beliefs actually live in our unconscious mind. So when you were a child and you have all these experiences and you create all these meanings and beliefs, there's a lot of memories that you have as a child. There's a lot of experiences that you have, under 13. And of course you can't remember it all. We'd go crazy trying to remember every single moment of our lives. However, the brain never forgets. The mind never forgets. So the meanings and the beliefs that you created are still there and are still really powerful. And that is what is determining how you think, how you feel, and the decisions that you make as a 30, 40, 50-year-old person. And if you were taught as a young age that this is how you handle certain experiences, if you saw your mom or your dad stressed out, or if somebody had anxiety, or somebody was depressed or really negative around you as a child, this is what you learn, that this is normal. Or if you experience some type of trauma as a child where you were physically abused, mentally abused, sexually abused, you would have experienced a lot of fear as a child. And your emotions are muscles. And so that fear muscle in you becomes really strong. So as an adult, you tend to shy away from experiences that can draw pain. So if like relationships, for example, if that fear muscle is really strong, you're going to want to walk away from certain relationships, or you may wonder, why do you self-sabotage a relationship? It's because the brain equates relationships with fear and pain. And so naturally, you're going to want to run away from it. And it actually makes a lot of sense when you start talking to people, or you start learning more about your childhood and your experiences, and then you see your behavior as an adult. You will see those two correlations. And it's beautiful because you will realize like, okay, there is something that I can do about this. And if you do experience a lot of stress, if you are really overwhelmed, if you deal with depression or anxiety or other types of mental illness that you really don't want to deal with, or maybe it is you're angry, there is something you can do about it. And you have to always remind yourself that these are just symptoms. And if you want to heal yourself, if you want to experience joy again, if you want to feel like you have some control in your life, then you have to create new belief systems. You first discover what they are, what these limited belief systems are, which ones that we need to, put our focus on. But once you've discovered it, then you can create new, beautiful ones. Something that I want people to understand too is that most people don't have free will. And a lot of the times it's because it's a choice that we don't have free will. And it's only a choice because we can create new belief systems, and live our life more intentionally and more consciously. But until we understand why we think the way we do, why we feel the way that we do, when you don't have that self-awareness, you don't have free will. You don't have a choice. I compare not having that self-awareness, not knowing about your limited beliefs. It's like being a prisoner. If you're a prisoner, you have been taken, everything has been taken away from you. You can't decide when you eat. You can't decide when you go outside. You can't decide, when it's bedtime. You can't decide when all the lights are on or off. All of your choices have been stripped from you. And that's what makes you feel like a prisoner. And if you don't have that self-awareness, if you do not know what those limited beliefs are that are within you, that are within everybody, if you're not aware of those limited beliefs, you are a prisoner in your own life because you don't have a choice. Right now, those limited beliefs are controlling your life. And when you start to gain a little more self-awareness, when you start to understand why you have these thoughts, why you hold anger within, why you feel insecure or less than when somebody does something, or why you experience so much fear where you can't even go out and follow your dreams, the reason is because of those limited beliefs. And once you discover those limited beliefs and you create new ones, that is where your freedom is. And so I want to show you how to discover those limited beliefs. And it's really easy. It's not a difficult thing to do. The only thing you need to be aware of, and you can just take a minute to reflect on this, is thinking about what area in my life do I suffer the most? What area in my life do I struggle with? Is it with my body, the relationship that I have with my body? Do I hate my nose? Do I think my butt's not big enough? Is it the relationship with my spouse? Not feeling connected to my spouse? Is it my relationship with God, not feeling connected to God? Is it my relationship at work and feeling like I'm hitting that glass ceiling and I can't quite get that promotion? Or maybe it's with money, that I can't make money. Where is the struggle area? Whatever it is, no matter how big or how small or how important it is or not important it is in your life, wherever it is that you hold any type of pain in your life, the only reason why that pain exists is because you hold a limited belief in there. It's determining how you perceive yourself in that particular area. So if you do have body image issues, when you look into the mirror, how you perceive yourself is not reality. How you view yourself is not reality. If you are struggling in your relationship right now with your spouse, how you view your spouse is not reality. How you view yourself is not reality. It's because you have this filter in your brain that is telling you this is your reality. And if you want to change your relationship with your body, if you want to change your relationship with your spouse, if you want to start making more money, if you want to have more success in any area in your life, you have to clear out these filters. You have to realize this is something that you learned likely decades ago. So it's a really strong muscle. And I hear a lot of people say, well, this is it. This is, I can't trust men. No men can be trusted because all of their experiences has been people hurting them. So of course they're going to have these really strong beliefs, and almost to the point where it's true. They won't even say it's not a belief. This is true. No man can be trusted ever. I hear people say that all the time. And it actually makes a lot of sense to me. If you hear people's story and how men may have betrayed you, of course you're going to have those beliefs because you haven't seen anything otherwise. But this is why it's important to try to seek out men or seek out relationships that have healthy communication styles, that there are men out there that you can trust, because right now that's the filter that you have, and that is your reality. And none of these filters are true. No filter that we have is true. You just have to decide, what type of filter do you want? What type of belief do you want? Do you want a limiting belief that's going to create struggle and sadness and difficulty in your life? Or do you want a belief system that's going to strengthen you and that's going to fill you up with love and compassion and patience and peace? It's up to you. We have a choice, but you have to be willing to do the work to discover, well, what are those beliefs? What are some things that I may have learned along the way that is causing me a lot of pain as an adult? And remember, they live in the unconscious mind. So you have no idea it exists, and you have to look at the clues. You have to look at, okay, well, what do I say about this person? What do I say to myself about this situation, about my body, about my spouse? Whatever it is, if it's something that is not in alignment with your greatest self, that means there's a limited belief there. But what's so beautiful is that you now, as an adult, can intentionally create the belief that you want. If you have insecurity issues, then you need to start saying some affirmations that rebut whatever it is that you believe how your body looks. One of the things that is a passion of mine now is doing meditations. I know that a lot of people, especially from where I'm from in America, they struggle with meditating because they can't shut the mind up, or they don't even necessarily understand it. And what's so beautiful about meditation is that there's a lot of science behind what meditation does and how it actually changes you. And so I've created these guided meditations that will help you discover these limited beliefs, but also create new beliefs within you. And so the more that you practice this meditation, the stronger that belief will become, and the limited belief will be weakened. So I really encourage you to look at some of the other episodes and see what other meditations that I've created. They're only 10 minutes. They're really simple, but they can give you so much clarity and so much self-awareness of how to heal yourself out of whatever it is that you are going through right now.